Stanley is a Casanova who sleeps around and doesn't love any of the women he sleeps with. One day, he went out with his friend Frank only to meet this stranger who was being attacked by another man. He immediately approached them and pretended to be this lady's lover. Apparently, Benita was looking for an apartment and this agent was harassing her, telling her that she cannot make payment for this house because she is not married and not in a relationship either. Immediately, Frank approached them and said he is the boyfriend to Benita, and with that, the agent has to make and allow that Benita make her payment for the apartment. Benita was stunned and couldn't say a word and immediately flew along with Stanley. Benita make payment for the apartment and moved into the house and in the same estate with Stanley. Days later, Benita went to Stanley's apartment to thank him for what he did to ensure that she was able to secure the apartment. Stanley was happy for her and had a good dinner date and also exchanged numbers just in case there's other things that may come up that each of them will need each other's help. So, Stanley and Benita became friends. Weeks later, one of the ladies that Stanley has been sleeping with, called Joy, came in and they slept together. Joy asked Stanley what they are and immediately Stanley said they were just having fun and vibes. Nothing serious was happening. Joy cried her eyes out and left the house. Frank called Stanley and warned him and that he is growing old and he needs to settle down. Immediately, Stanley told Frank that he has already found the one he loved. And Stanley told Frank again that it is Benita, the lady who just moved into their estate. Frank did not believe his friend and said it is one of those ladies he wants to sleep with. Stanley strongly believes he has found the missing rib and it is Benita. A month later, Stanley visited Benita and told her that he is interested in her. Also proposed relationship for Benita that it will be in their best interest since they live in the same estate. It will also be good that this relationship will flourish and it will be easier because they can easily know each other in and outside. Benita laughed and warned Stanley that her kind of love is different, and when she loves really hard. It is not easy for her to move out of love or out of relationship. Stanley told her that what could possibly be the difference between her and other women? Relationship is relationship. There can never be something he cannot withstand. Benita warned Stanley that this is different and that it is not easy to come out of. Stanley immediately agreed that look, if only he is in love with her, nothing can change. Benita asked for some days to think about it before she can either accept it or reject it. Benita immediately called her friend Cynthia to tell her that she has found a new guy she thinks she's interested in. Cynthia told Benita that is it not too early to fall in love again after what you experienced with your ex? Benita said this is different and this might be her final bus stop because Stanley seems genuine. Already, Cynthia was not happy about it, but Benita told herself that she will give herself another trial. 2 days later, Benita went to Stanley's house and told him that she has accepted the offer. The relationship can start. Stanley was so happy that he is now finally in a serious relationship after messing up a lot of girls' heart. Benita and Stanley started their relationship. 3 months into the relationship, Benita has been controlling and making sure that Stanley does not cheat. Stanley, who has made a vow to be faithful to Benita, promised and was sure of it not to cheat. As days goes by, Stanley realized that Benita is always snooping around his phone and watching his every move. Stanley went to work and saw Benita's car parked in around his office. He came back home and asked Benita whether she was at his office. Benita said yes. He was shocked to hear that Benita came around his office. Benita only said, "You know what? I am here to stay and no other woman is going to take away all the joy I am building with you." Stanley was shocked and promised and assured Benita that he is going nowhere. He is here to stay as well. A week later, Stanley could not stand how obsessed Benita was with him. Stanley told Frank that it seems Benita is dealing with certain demons because she has been extremely obsessed with him and with his every move. Frank was shocked as how Stanley was complaining and said maybe it's because the relationship is still new. Stanley could not just understand what was happening with Benita. As days goes by, Benita saw that Stanley has been having conversation with another woman who he was complaining to. Stanley went home and saw that Benita was angry with him, and Benita prepared food, offered it to Stanley and said, "This is your food." After eating, Benita told Stanley that what if I have poisoned the food you just ate? Stanley was so shocked. He immediately went to the kitchen, took palm oil, drank it, and after that, Benita told him that the food was no poison. He was just scaring him because she knows he has been having conversation with another lady called Joy. Stanley was confused as to how Benita knew this. Immediately, Stanley went back to his office to have conversation with Frank and said he is scared for his life because the rate at which Benita is obsessed and checking his every move, he might as well die because this is more than death to him. Stanley went back home and told Benita that he needs a break and that he will be taking a job offer in another city. Benita was not happy about this, and with that information, Benita planned a kidnap. She actually went on to kidnap Stanley and demanded that Stanley marries her immediately now and they will live happily ever after. Stanley was confused and offered that he would do that only if Benita freed him. Benita was not happy about this and started torturing Stanley to sign some documents, and this document has to do with marriage and some properties that he owns. Stanley was so shocked to his nerves and realized that there was no way out. But luckily for him, Joy came in with police officers and arrested Benita. Stanley immediately hugged Joy and thanked her so much for saving him from Benita. Joy was also happy that Stanley is safe. Days later, Frank was laughing and teasing Stanley that he has learned his lesson the hard way. Yes, Stanley agreed and said, It is good he learned it the hard way rather than to die inside, and with that, he is also happy he has found the love that was right beside him rather than looking outside of what was closer to him. Thanks for watching this recap. This channel brings you the best Nollywood movies. We save you time and money. Don't forget to subscribe and like our videos for more movie recap.